Months ago now, we cut our floor apart and removed the water tank lids that were underneath, because we were worried that there was rust in our tanks. And we were right to worry. So we spent days chipping, grinding, and welding in that very uncomfortable space before having the tanks sandblasted, and then recoating them with a food-grade epoxy paint to hopefully stave off the rust again for a few years. It's finally time to put those lids back on, which sounds like it should be easy peasy, but of course it involves more steps than just throwing them back on. I'm Taryn, this is Logan, and this is Max. Our life rarely goes as planned, and this story is no different. But we are determined to rebuild our beautiful steel boat, even stronger than she was before. And we're bringing you along with us. So as you can see here, we've got a lid off of a water tank. And that is because we're cleaning them up and getting them ready for the lids to go back on officially. But before we do that, oops, sorry about the camera shadow, we need to check out a pipe that comes out, like where the water comes out of the tanks, to make sure it's not rusty. You can see in the very corner there's a little drain, and it leads to this pipe, which has a ball valve on it. So Logan's going to take that ball valve off so that we can actually take a look inside the pipe, because that's the only way that we can really get in there and look.
I don't think we're going to put that ball valve back on.
So we get a different one?
Yeah, we'll get a new one. It doesn't feel very good. I don't know what kind of shape it's actually in. Yay.
Doesn't want to move?
There we go.
Oh, nice. What's it look like? Pretty rusty. Oh, it's so clogged. Holy crap, that's a lot of rust.
Rust and sand.
Do you think that's from the ball valve rusting, or do you think that's from the pipe rusting? I guess that's what we're about to find out.
Well, the ball valve's stainless, so it's not the ball valve.
Oh, I guess it could have been accumulated rust from the tank too, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, it looks a bit rusty in there.
So what can we run through there to clean it out? That's the other question.
I don't know. That's why I should have cut this fucking thing off.
Alright, so we're gonna get a little bit creative to try to get that pipe clean. So we've bought these 3 brushes. This one is the stiffest. It's got copper teeth on it or something. So I'm gonna use this to try to clean that pipe out. And then one of these I'm gonna use for painting later on. So hopefully that works. We're gonna try to do it by hand to start with, and then if that doesn't work, I might put this on a drill and then see if I can get it to go through the pipe like this and get rid of all that rust. So the reason that we're doing this now instead of before we painted the water tanks is that we ran out of time before sandblasting. So we had like a deadline for getting that sandblasting done so that we could get paint on the boat before we went to Europe. And in that time period, we should have done this to the pipe and then potentially welded on a new pipe, but we didn't. And so now we're doing it much later, where it's going to be a lot harder to fix it. Because if we've got to weld on a new pipe, then we're going to have to deal with, you know, all the dirt and burning paint again and repainting part of the tank. Hopefully we don't have to do that. Hopefully all it is just residual rust from in the tank. Because you guys saw there was a ton of rust in the tank. So, that's the plan. Let's go see if this works. Not doing anything?
Pushing stuff out the hole.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Pulling stuff out this way too.
Okay, I think I can do this. But I gotta put the drill bit in first. And then fit the drill in here. there is some pretty heavy pitting here, but we definitely should have cut that pipe off and put a new one on.
Is what it is now. So today I'm gonna get the water tank ready for paint touch-ups. So as you guys saw yesterday, we cleaned that pipe out, or started cleaning that pipe out, and it was full of rust. So I've got to clean that out better and get that ready for paint. And then there's a few spots in the actual water tanks that for whatever reason have thin areas of paint, and I don't know if it's like when we were rolling the paint on, we somehow nicked them with the roller and took paint off, or what happened, but they need to have more paint put on them. I have to scuff them up with sandpaper, and then I should be able to paint them. You gotta clean that pipe out, and that process, I'm not sure how it's gonna go like usual. We're kind of just making tools to make it work, and then hoping that the surface that we have when we're done is gonna be coarse enough for the paint to actually stick to it. And then maybe I'll get a coat of paint on today. Who knows? This is what I'm gonna use to clean out that pipe. You can see this is literally just a long bolt that has had the top cut off of it. So there's a notch cut in the end there, and then I just have a small piece of sandpaper that is in that notch and then wrapped around the end. And that's what I'm going to stick in the pipe and hope to God that that actually works for cleaning it out. It's doing the job. All right, so I think I have that pipe pretty much cleaned out except for like a little bit that's at the intake where the weld is, and that's because that bit is too short to get to the end and it's narrower at that end than it is at the ball valve end, so it's hard to get in there and clean it. But I got it pretty good. I'm gonna leave that for now though, because I want to discuss with Logan what he thinks is the next best steps, but I've got the rest of the tank prep that needs to be repainted, so that's all ready to go. I just need to re-clean that pipe again. So I'm back on the boat. It was a few days ago that I cleaned out that pipe, and I wasn't sure once I finished cleaning out that pipe whether it had been painted on the inside or if it was just really nice and clean. And I was kind of hoping that it had been painted, because if it had been painted then that meant that we already had like a bit of a coating in there and it wasn't going to be a huge worry. After leaving it for a few days, we came back and it was definitely rusty. So that means that it was a bit pitted, and that all the black stuff that was coming out that I saw was actually like, I don't know what Logan called it, like black rust, which I didn't even realize happens. So I guess when you have kind of like the rust that happens, or the oxidation, but you don't, it doesn't really get exposed to the air, it just kind of like is stuck underwater the whole time, then it ends up looking really dark and sticking on. But it looks like I've done a pretty good job of sanding it and cleaning it out. We got into that last little bit that I couldn't get the other day and cleaned that. We've also cleaned the rust spots that rusted over the last few days. So it should be ready to paint. Alright, so I got the second coat of paint on yesterday inside the tanks here, so in that pipe, as well as inside the tank where for whatever reason it hadn't coated properly. So today I'm going to take the lids off, and we're going to actually try to mount these guys. So the first thing that I've got to do is try to take all the high spots of paint off of both like the lid of the tank and the rim of the tank. So what happened was basically when we were painting we ended up with drips or whatever, especially on the lids, and it has to be as flush as possible for the bolts to go in properly and for the sealant to seal properly, to make sure that we don't get a bunch of oxygen in the tanks. So that's what I'm doing today. right now, I'm gonna use this tool with a little disc on it, and hopefully that'll do the job. So let's get at it, I guess.
We are going to be gluing these water tank lids down. So basically what we've done is scuffed up the edges all the way around the tank flange and lids. And we're gonna throw some silicone on that, stick them down, and we're using a product from Ch5, and it is apparently food grade. We have been recommended to use this stuff by several places, and it should be good.
Is it called Ch5 1A?
1A. Okay.
One in, two in. Very nice.
Tighten everything down now. This is the special wrench, and it's probably gonna work. I found it in a drawer of special wrenches, so it's the right size. It's a 13 mil, so yeah, that's the wrench we're gonna use. Already made, don't even have to make it. So whenever you're tightening a tank lid or anything, really, you do it the same as you would a cylinder head on a vehicle. You start in the center and work towards the outside. That way the lid will work itself flat to the flange instead of working inwards where it might bow up and either crack or leave a gap, sort of thing. So just start in the center and we'll work our way out. At least we know we put on enough goo.
Yeah. Too much goo is definitely better than not enough goo. So that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
How does it feel? Good?
Yeah, it'll be feel good once I get everything clean.
Oh yeah. Thanks so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. And an extra big shout out to our patrons for helping us out along the way. See you next week.